Hi there, it's Lisa Goodell, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we're going to make some birthday cards. We are going to use this background paper from Masterfully Made Designer Series paper. This is the back side, but we're not going to use that. First, I'm going to cut this big 12 by 12 Designer Series paper down to make it for a top layer of a card. So I'm going to cut the first side at the 3 3/4 mark, and then after I cut the whole sheet across, then the next one I'm going to turn it and cut the other way at 5 inches. So I'm going to end up with 2 top layers, and then I'm going to get out some Pretty Peacock cardstock, and then I'm going to make the layer that's going to be underneath those. And so that Pretty Peacock layer is going to be at 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And finally, I'm going to get out some basic white thick cardstock for the card bases, and I'm just going to cut that in half at 4 1/4, and then I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. So it's going to be 2 cards that you're going to open vertically instead of horizontally. And then I'm going to get my bone folder, and I'm going to just fold those over to get a nice crisp fold. And now you can see me layering on the pretty pink cardstock, and then also that Designer Series paper on top of both cards. And there you can see that even though that was the same piece of DSP, the way I cut them out made the background still look different. Next, I'm going to punch in on the Pretty Peacock layer because you're not going to need that whole layer, so why waste the paper that's going to be covered up, as you can see there. And I use the 2 3/4 inch round circle punch to do that. And now I'm going to use the same punch to punch a circle out of white cardstock. Next, I'm going to cut a curvy circle using the decorative circle punch. Now I'm going to get started doing some stamping. So I'm going to use my stamp apparatus to try to make sure to get my stamps right where I want it on the cardstock. The stamp I'm using is from Circle Sayings, and it has some roses on it. So I'm going to attach it there to the stamp apparatus, and then I'm going to put some ink on it. Now, instead of using an ink pad, I'm actually going to use a Stampin' Write marker because this stamp has roses plus leaves, and I want to try to do both colors. So I'm going to use the Melon Mambo for the roses. And this can be purchased as a part of the Brights Stampin' Marker set. You have to get all the Brights colors together. You cannot buy the marker by itself. So then I'm going to stamp that onto my circle cardstock, and let's see how that turns out when I stamp it. Hopefully it is pretty well lined up there. And yeah, that looks pretty good there. And now I'm going to take a Flirty Flamingo marker, and I'm just going to fill in the centers of all the flowers. And then I'm going to put the leaves on. But I'm not going to stamp the leaves from the stamp. I'm just going to add those in using a Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blends marker. I don't happen to have a regular marker with me, and the Stampin' Blends won't work on the stamp pad coloring it in like I did with the Melon Mambo because that dries too fast. So I'm just freehanding putting those leaves on there. And so now I'm going to do the same thing on the other half of the circle. So I'm going to turn that around and line it up, and then I'm going to stamp it again. And then I'll add my Flirty Flamingo to the middle and add my Pretty Peacock leaves. Next, I decide that I'm going to use the Happy Birthday sentiment that also comes from the Circle Sayings stamp set. I think that'll fit right there in the middle. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and use that Melon Mambo marker to ink it up since I already have it out. And after I get this done, I think I'm just going to need to put everything together. I am going to use a couple of embellishments. The boho blue textured ribbon that is in the new catalog that just came out, and also the in color dots. So I'm just going to line up the ribbon how I want to have it, and I'm going to cut off a little extra on each side. And then on the back side, I'm just going to tape it with some packing tape. Next, I'm going to adhere the white cardstock onto the Pretty Peacock circle layer, and then I'm going to use dimensionals to put that on the front of the card over the ribbon. Now, I only had mini dimensionals, but I would recommend using the regular size dimensionals just to get better coverage. Then the final step is going to be adhering that main piece to the Pretty Peacock. I was going to put that on the white card base for the front, but then I realized I hadn't done the inside yet. And so I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut out 2 inside pieces. And those are both going to be cut at 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And then I'm going to add some extra scrap paper to the bottom of it just to add some color. After putting the multi-purpose liquid glue on the back, I am putting that onto the card base on the inside. And now I'm going to put glue on the front piece and then adhere that to the front of the card base. And this is what the front of the first card is going to look like. Except that I thought I had one more thing to add, and that is going to be those in color dots. These come in the new in color colors, and so really I think the Moody Mauve or the Boho Blue colors would probably work best with this, and ultimately I decided on the Boho Blue ones. And finally I decided to add just a touch of the Wink of Stella to the roses, just for a little glitter. And now that I have that card done, I'm going to go ahead and finish the other card. On this one, I'm going to put the cupcake from the Circle Saying stamp onto my card. I thought it would be cute to use the DSP flower paper as the cupcake liner. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the whole cupcake stamp on there, but then I'm going to cut the liner out. I ended up watercoloring up on where the frosting would be for the cupcake, but you could just use a marker to fill that in if you would like. I'm going to go ahead and add some music and let you watch the rest of the video. Please leave any questions that you might have in the comments, and I will be sure to reply. Please get more information by looking at the description, which will give you measurements and all the supplies and links to getting the supplies. Please use my host code if you want to buy anything, and you will be able to earn free stuff with me, and you can get more information on that in the description. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you are notified when I have new videos out. So have a great day, and thanks for watching.